To the show. Welcome back to the channel, Forever United TV here, bringing you all of your Manchester United updates this Saturday morning, the last international weekend of the calendar year before it is all-go Premier League action. Everybody's looking ahead to them games coming up now over the next 5 weeks. Plus, what happens after that? That is the January transfer window opening, and Manchester United do look like they are going to push for one player in particular because he apparently has given the green light, that being Conor Gallagher wanting to move to Manchester United. Going to read into that story and more on what we've been talking about already, this time coming from the players' side of things. That's our top story this morning. We're also going to get into them big updates from Fabrizio Romano as well on all of the outgoings at Manchester United. 4 big player updates for Romano that many Manchester United fans might have got concerned about in terms of where their futures were, because nobody really wants them at the football club. We'll get into that. All of the international updates, of course, as well, including a first goal for Shea Lacey. He keeps on making massive strides at the moment. I don't think it's going to be long before Manchester United fans get a proper glimpse of him in the Manchester United first team as well. And of course, all of your comments in the live section, everybody. Get your debates going. Talk to the other subscribers and community in there on Forever United TV as well. It is the best on YouTube. I can guarantee it, because everyone's got an opinion, and that's what matters in good old Manchester United football debate. Let's get into the news, everybody. I hope you're all doing well. Let us know if you survived that storm that was yesterday. That was grim, wasn't it? Went out yesterday in Manchester. It was horrible yesterday. Anyway, more on that towards the back end of the show, I'm sure. Manchester United's pursuit of Conor Gallagher is what we are talking about this morning, and a big update. It did drop into me last night, and actually no, it dropped into me yesterday. Actually, we was talking about it, about Conor Gallagher and a potential deal yesterday morning, and what Manchester United would need to do to get hold of Conor Gallagher. We talked about João Gomez, Conor Gallagher, what fits for Manchester United, because the details of the big names, the Belaibers, Whartons and Elliot Andersons, are all going to be transfers in the summer. Elliot Anderson wants a summer transfer move. He's not keen on moving in January. Fair enough, put that to bed. We're not going to get him. Manchester United will bide their time and make that deal happen into the summer transfer window. Potentially similar to the Belabor one, but you just don't know with Belabor at the moment, because he is one player that isn't playing European football at Brighton, and of course is not in great form at the moment. Will Brighton buckle if United put a bid in January, because they might not get the same price that they thought they was going to get in the summer now that Belabor's form is off? Maybe. The one player that does always come up in conversation, though, is someone that was almost signed by Manchester United in August of the summer last transfer window gone, and that's Conor Gallagher. Again, his name coming up in lots of different conversations simply because of his situation in Madrid right now. Now, the report is from Graham Bailey, and it's more on what we were talking about yesterday, but a bit more detail, is that he is very happy in Madrid. He's settled in, family is fine, everything is good, but playing time is a problem, and international duty is what he wants. He wants to be part of the fold. Now, I'm going to be completely blunt here, and I know that this is a player that's coming to Manchester United, so I really should be bigging him up, shouldn't I? But Conor Gallagher isn't getting into that England side. So people would automatically say, well, if he's not even an international, then why are we going for him? Well, when you've got the likes of Declan Rice, Elliot Anderson, Jude Bellingham, players like this in the midfield for England, you could see he might make the squad. Don't get me wrong, he might make the squad, but this is the level that they're at. So he is just behind them players. So it's not like he is a poor player. Of course, you're never going to be able to get the Rices, the Bellinghams, let's just say Morgan Rogers of this world. Elliot Anderson is for the summer for Manchester United as well. So that's the clientele that he is actually dealing with, and that's what he's up against. So realistically, Manchester United right now are just after somebody else who we can get in now to help us through to the end of the season. So Conor Gallagher wants game time. He wants to play in the World Cup. He did feature in the first game, unfortunately, the one that Tuchel did lose, which was the 3-1 defeat to Senegal. We all remember that, when everyone thought, blimey, Tuchel really isn't the man. Since then, 100% record and smashing every team out the park. Full qualification, first team in Europe to qualify for the World Cup, and it's been a breeze for England. So, yes, I'm not seeing Gallagher pushing in with the amount of game time that he's getting at Atletico Madrid. Tuchel, he's only going to be watching players that are playing regularly, and he's not. He's had 4 starts this season for Atletico Madrid, and he's definitely out of favour. I think he scored 1 goal in the Champions League so far this season. That's pretty drastic compared to where he was last season. And I think out of favour is definitely how you would describe this situation at Atletico Madrid for Conor Gallagher right now. So the report is he is more than keen on a move and pushing for a move now to Manchester United. He wants to come back to England, and Manchester United would 100% be a team he would like to join. We said this yesterday. We talked about the potential of Manchester United being a club that he would jump to from Atletico Madrid. It is a step up again in terms of history and nostalgia and size of football club. Obviously, Atletico were competing week in, week out, and every single season in La Liga for titles and in the Champions League continuously. So you could argue that point against where United are compared to Atleti, but still, in terms of club size, Gallagher, like we said yesterday, is very lucky to have someone like Manchester United in a position we're in, where he could just slot in there. Like, he may look at this and go, right, into the future, into the summer, Manchester United might have already bought in more reinforcements in midfield, which is going to be the case. We know this. We know that United are obviously looking for more midfielders, so he may look at it that way, and that would be the only thing I would see being an issue right now. The fact that he isn't playing at Atletico Madrid gives Manchester United a chance, and I think they could negotiate a deal that really suited them. And now that they know that Gallagher would be open to this move and open to moving in January in particular, it opens up Manchester United's transfer window. And I feel if United were concerned about the finances, about how we bring a player in and afford it, say for instance the story we broke last night about Antoine Semenyo wanting to come to Manchester United perhaps, and United wanting to jump ahead of the likes of City and Liverpool and try and get this transfer done, where he would fit in at United. Where would we get that money from if we wanted to bring a midfielder in? Well, you sell Joshua Zirkzee, you use that towards Antoine Semenyo, and then you loan Conor Gallagher with an option at the end of it if Manchester United perhaps make the Champions League. Therefore, that money for Gallagher would be in the next financial year, the next PSR cycle. So that's how Manchester United would work this. The option of a loan with obligation, I think, is more than perfect for Manchester United right now in the Gallagher situation. So I feel like we are... Personally, I feel like, for me, we're in the right position right now. It's just whether we can beat off the competition. If we were, for instance, like what was reported last night in for Semenyo, that is going to be a difficult deal to make. But Conor Gallagher, I don't think is tough. I think Manchester United could get this deal done. Look, I said it, I think, yesterday. I said I would rather take João Gomez. I kind of feel like I would. But there's nothing wrong with Conor Gallagher, I don't think, for Manchester United. A rotation player that is going to come in. And let's be honest, if I had Conor Gallagher and Casemiro as my 2 midfield options, sat next to Bruno Fernandes, because we know Bruno's going to play, it's pointless even arguing that point at the moment. But if they were my options, instead of Casemiro and Agate, I would feel a lot more comfortable going into the back end of the season. I would feel like we had the Premier League experience and we had the energy and quality that we needed to rotate. Rotating Casemiro and Conor Gallagher would be a lot better than having to do it with Manuel Agate, who, let's be honest, just isn't there, is he? He's just not good enough. Who would you like to see in a Manchester United shirt? We've got a poll running there right now. Get involved in that. Gallagher, Wharton, Anderson, João Gomez. Let me know. At the moment, Conor Gallagher is 3rd on that list. Now, obviously, circumstances will determine on all of them players how available and how ready they are to make a move as well, which might be, obviously, it might change the vote when you're looking at it, but I just feel like because Conor Gallagher hasn't been playing in the Premier League, he's probably down people's lists, and he's probably down in terms of, well, let's just say quality or what you would want, because we always want the best. We want the right players at Manchester United. I think actually some people do look at Gallagher and say, well, you've had your chance. He's been around. He's been at all of these different football clubs. He's been at some good clubs, and he's not made it. So why should Manchester United be going for him? Look, sometimes players move a few times before they find the right football club. That just happens in football. I just think right now Gallagher is the perfect player for Manchester United in January. And I think past that, we are going to still buy more. So don't worry. Like I said this yesterday, I think, and the day before. It's not like we're going for Gallagher and then not getting Elliot Anderson or Baleba or someone like that. There's going to be more coming in on top of Conor Gallagher. So we need 2 to 3 minimum, I feel, because I think our midfield is going to be ripped apart. And if Gallagher comes in, what happens to Mainu? This is the situation. This is where it starts to develop the January transfer window. Because if Gallagher does come into United, then Mainu needs to leave. And he needs to go. And I think United will be looking at that as well as another way of saving a little bit of money. I think United could even push and try and get a loan fee out of Kobbie Mainu. Then you're kind of paying for Conor Gallagher's wages through the rest of this season and covering it with some of what we would be saving with whatever club takes Napoli. So whatever club takes Mainu, for instance, Napoli, if they're covering Mainu's wages. There is simple ways that Manchester United could make this work, because they've already said that Kobbie Mainu, we don't want him to leave. I mean, Samuel Luckers came out last night and said that Joshua Zirkzee has been told that he has got no chance of leaving Manchester United. Look, I just don't see that being a reality at all. Even at the back end of AFCON, the transfer window is still open for another 2 weeks near enough. And Mbeumo and Ahmad could potentially be back. I mean, if you watch the way that Cameroon are playing at the moment, I don't see them going far in AFCON anyway. We might even see Brian Mbeumo in the first week of bleeding January. And the tournament pretty much starts on the 21st of December. So it could be a short-lived thing yet. You just don't know. And we could be getting these players back quicker than what you think. So I think the idea of players staying at United is because of what's coming up. And obviously we're going to be a bit low in depth for AFCON when the players leave for that tournament. But I actually still look at Joshua Zirkzee, Kobbie Mainu. It's like, yeah, okay, but then players will all be back before the window shuts. And you're going to have the same problem all over again. The likes of Bruno, the likes of Mbeumo, Cunha, they're all going to keep their places under Ruben Amorim. And that takes out Zirkzee and Kobbie Mainu completely. So I'm not believing what Samuel Luckhurst is saying. Yeah, they can say that on the face of it and say that he's not going anywhere because they need him. But I think what we're looking at here is still, like, the reality is Manchester United are definitely going to be open if somebody comes in for this. Say, for instance, someone bid for Joshua Zirkzee. I think that deal would happen. I think United would take the money. There's no way that United are turning down any bid in the region of 30 million for Joshua Zirkzee this January. They're going to let him go. There's no way. Conor Gallagher plays a big part in Kobbie Mainu as well, in his future. Because there is another place that he just won't get in the side, and Bruno plays every single game. And that's it. He's never going to start a game for Manchester United. We are now a dozen games in, and Kobbie Mainu is not starting. He will be back in the squad for the game on Monday, against Everton. So that will just be match day squad. He's got over his knock now. He's been training this week, and that's the report coming out of United. So no issue at all with the injury that Kobbie Mainu had. So that's been put to bed also at the moment. And it's just going to be if Ruben wants to put him in his side, which, like we've just discussed there, he's never going to. It's quite clear he's made his mind up. So, yeah, Gallagher will play a big part in potential exits as well for United. Let's get into the comment section and let's see what you're all saying on this one in terms of Conor Gallagher. Would you go for it? Don't forget, get involved in the poll as well. Gomez, Anderson, Wharton, Gallagher. Who would you like to see in a Man United shirt? At the moment, Elliot Anderson, of course, is absolutely storming it. We could put a few more midfielders on there, but YouTube restricts us to just putting 4 in on polls while we're live. So, yeah. That's why we've got them names there. Definitely warming to the idea of Gallagher. Certainly ticks boxes regarding improved culture. Yep, good point to make there as well, Stephen. Simon says, Stiller will get torn a new one in the Prem. Gallagher has plenty of Prem experience. Gallagher not good enough, says Authentic. Good enough in what way? To be a squad player for Manchester United and take over the role of Manuel Ugarte? I think he's definitely good enough for that, personally. And I would like to see someone like Gallagher with the engine that he's got in that Man United midfield, because we are going to need someone who can get up and down that pitch, especially with Bruno playing every single game. Manchester United needs a big squad if it gets a European spot this season. Look at the top 4 teams, all massive squads. Manchester United will easily have a big enough squad. I feel there'll be there'll be a very busy transfer window in the summer if United get into Europe. Cristiano Ronaldo Rito. Is that wow, okay. Not for 100 million though. Anderson is great, but he isn't a 100 million pound player. He won't go for 100 million, going off the reports. We have done videos on Elliot Anderson's price and the clauses and stipulations within his contract at the moment off the back of Nottingham Forest season, which is why most clubs, if they're in for Elliot Anderson, in particular Manchester United, are holding off until the summer, because there are clauses in there that make him available a lot cheaper that Nottingham Forest can do nothing about. It's in the contract. So yeah, it's going to be very, very interesting to see how that develops and Forest season near. So basically, if Forest don't make European football again, United won't be paying anywhere near 100 million if they want him. He can leave for another football club for a lesser price. And I think what Ben Jacobs said, it's north of 50 million, but probably in between 50 to 70 million, I think, is where it is if Forest don't get into Europe. It's even less if Forest are relegated. So Forest are not getting European football this season. I can't see that happening with the teams up there. I just don't think Sean Dyche has got it in him to take a team up to European football. Survival, yes. Sean Dyche will keep Nottingham Forest up, I feel. But he's not getting them into Europe, I don't think. And that will benefit Manchester United with Elliot Anderson. And therefore, we should be able to get that player at a good price. And I think United already know about this, which is why we're already making contact and moves and making sure that Anderson knows that Manchester United have him right up there at the top of their shopping list. Probably alongside Carlos Baleba also. Why would Stiller get on a new one? He would take a bit longer to settle, though. Yes, he's a different player, isn't he, Stiller? He's a different player than the Gallaghers and Andersons of this world. And it is always the fear. In January, you need players to really go and hit the ground running, and that's difficult. Very difficult if you're coming from another country. So, yeah, I think that would be I think that would be the inevitable outcome if Stiller came in. You still got Casemiro, and I think just interchanging and swapping it around, bedding him in would happen. But I think from what Romano has said, it's a definite no-go for Manchester United and Stiller in January, that is. Still highly thought of, but it's more than likely another summer transfer for United. How about 2 from Anderson, Baleba, Gallagher, Wharton, plus Semenyo and Gehi, my dream. Unfortunately, Gehi won't happen, Steve, because he has pretty much told Liverpool he's going there. But the others, look, I don't see where Semenyo fits in to Liverpool. And honestly, I think Manchester United could, if they wanted to, go and get him. Look, we mentioned this in last night's video on Antoine Semenyo. Where do you see him fitting in? Get into the comment section. Would it be a wing-back or would it be in one of the number 10 positions? Where do you think he would fit in? Connor says, good morning, Adam. What I would say about Conor Gallagher is he's not a defensive midfielder. For Palace, he played as a number 10. And for Chelsea, he played as a box-to-box midfielder with a DM. Well, when you look at Conor Gallagher, he has changed and adapted, and his game is different. I think at Atletico, he's been a different type of player. But in that position there, you still need that player to get forward like Casemiro has done. And let's be honest, like Casemiro's goal against Brighton, for instance, is an example of what's expected from that position in Manchester United's Ruben Amorim side. So he's got the energy to get up and down, I think, is what we're saying. So I would say 6/8 for Gallagher. He's got the defensive attributes, he's got the tenacity, he's got the energy, he's got the experience. I think it makes sense. And he can score goals as well. I mentioned yesterday, he always scored goals for Palace and for Chelsea. So he has got an eye for that, just like Casemiro has. Casemiro probably bags more than any normal midfielder in the Premier League. He's surprisingly got a good goal ratio, Casemiro. So it's expected of these players to chip in and get up there and support the front line, not just Bruno Fernandes. And I think that this is where potentially Manchester United see a Conor Gallagher move. I think they see him as that type of 8 player as well, but 6-ish, energetic, up and down. It's a better option, I think, than Manuel Ugarte. Get Gallagher in this winter, and we can do he can do a job for us. Then becomes Casemiro replacement for next few seasons, and we spend big money in the main market, in my opinion. Again, Conor Gallagher being there to help us this season and then back up for the coming seasons is how most Man United fans are seeing this transfer now. So, again, I think it is. I think it is probably the best way to look at it. It's not a main transfer for United. It's another player that's going to be brought in, which is just going to help Manchester United squad rotation-wise going forward. And some people will say, why are we spending money on players like that when we need our starting 11? Well, the starting 11 we can't get. And starting 11, I mean players that are going to go right in there. So them players, I think, are summer transfers. And right now, we need to get to that summer transfer window in the best position. And the best position would be in the Champions League. Top 5 for Manchester United is the ultimate. That's the goal. And I think United can get it this season. So when you look at that gives United then the money. It gives them the pulling power even more than what we've got right now, which is already big. And I think Elliot Anderson walks to Old Trafford if United are in the Champions League. I think it's a done deal. So bringing Gallagher in now to help Manchester United get to that level and get to that stage, I think is very important. And I think that's how Manchester United will, I feel, look at it as well. Because in talks with the likes of Gallagher and talking to his representation, he's going to be putting out his needs and what he wants as well. And I think it would be definitely European football. United in position for that at the moment. And I think continuation of this sort of form that we're in right now, this solid form that we're in, I think we'll be comfortably in any form of Europe come the end of the season. Champions League would be ideal. It would be very good. And a nice fast-tracked season for United away from that prolonged just staying in the Europa League season in, season out that Ineos have planned. Take advantage now. And if you can get somebody in that's going to help you get there, just go and get it. Invest in it. And it's in particular better if United get Gallagher in on loan. We're not spending anything in this transfer cycle, and then we can go all out in the summer. I think that has to be where Manchester United are thinking anyway. We'd like to see Xerxes get one final chance to see if he can add dynamism to the undoubtable talent he is. A great lad, but if he can't, then sadly, best to part ways. He's not ahead of Mount, is he? He's not ahead of Mbumo or Cunha. The fact that Shea Lacey's probably going to be promoted through. I mean, I would play Kobbie Mainoo up there as a 10. Maybe ahead of Joshua Xerxes, to be honest. I think that's where Kobbie's done his best work. Look, I'm not saying Xerxes is not a good player, but Xerxes really isn't going to last at Manchester United. Definitely not. Interesting we mentioned Sesko's injury yesterday and the update on that. The Slovenian manager blaming the British media to make a big deal out of something that wasn't. Very well done and well played to him for doing that, because he made a point of saying, look, everything is sorted with Manchester United. We talked about this yesterday, but he's gone out even more now and said this, that it was the British media, as expected. I've made a bigger deal out of this than what it really is. There is zero problems between United and the Slovenian Football Federation. They know exactly what's going on with Benjamin Sesko now and wish him a speedy recovery. Job done. No drama. Not like the British media made it look. Again, good to see people shooting him down because they're struggling right now. They need circus. They need drama around Manchester United to survive. Notice how you've not seen many of them tweeting or making stories up anymore. They are dying to see Manchester United crumble again. That's what is needed right now. Anyway, want to move on. Don't want to give them any time. Talking about what Fabrizio Romano was saying. I wrote some notes down here. And listen, this is going to be music to every single Manchester United fan's ears. Are you ready? I wrote some notes down before I came on the show. And this is what it read. Obviously, I had the Gallagher stuff. And then the next notes were Rashford out, Onana out, Rasmus out, Sancho done. I was just smiling from cheek to cheek while saying that out loud earlier on this morning as well. Absolutely loving that. But Romano giving full updates on the situation around all of them players, because there was a story that came out yesterday that Andre Onana is coming back to Manchester United in the summer. And it's like, what? I know, that sounds horrible on its own, doesn't it? But just on the Andre Onana one, first of all, this was fully updated. I think Romano just went through every single Man United player that's out there on loan at the moment, just to give a little bit of clarity on the situations. And Romano on Andre Onana, first of all, says Andre Onana is set to return to Manchester United when his loan ends, but he's unlikely to be included in the club's future plans. United are pleased with said allowance and don't want to disrupt the current setup, so the expectation is that they will look to move Andre Onana on. So looking to move Onana on for a fee, try and sell him. He's, of course, into the third year of his contract. I think he's on a 4-year deal at Manchester United. So United more than happy just to let him go now. Another year paid off of his transfer fee, coming into the last year of that now, after this season, that is. So I think the general sort of consensus around Manchester United from what's been written and reported is that Andre Onana will go for a cheap price, but United will do everything in their power to get him out of the football club. Ruben Amorim does not want him at United. That is clear, and that was the same reports from the summer. Ruben's not going to change his mind. He's gone. Now, also, on top of that, Marcus Rashford is not returning to Manchester United. Well, he is because he has to, because he's on loan. But again, Romano updating us on Rashford, saying Marcus Rashford is anticipated to depart Manchester United on a permanent deal in 2026. Barcelona are pleased with him and will assess the €30 million buy option in due course. Now, lots of people have been reporting on Rashford saying that there is a discrepancy between the price. United want more, Barcelona want more. Fabrizio Romano was stuck to his gun all the way through in this. He was the one that said the price, what the option was to buy Rashford when the deals first got announced for Barcelona taking Rashford on loan. He stuck with that. He's not changed once since then in the months after. And he's saying it again here. He's still sticking to the £26 million option to buy Marcus Rashford. And Barcelona are looking into it. He will not be returning to Manchester United. The importance of Ruben Amorim staying at the football club as well is massive. But the importance of having a football structure in place behind Ruben Amorim gives you confidence as a Manchester United fan to look at deals like this and go, if it doesn't happen for Ruben, does that mean that we're going to get all of these players back and the new manager wants to have a look at it? No. The structure wasn't there before, and that situation would always come around and always be a problem. I wouldn't have a look at him. I can get more out of him. No. The Manchester United football structure in place, the management team know that none of these players, no matter who's in charge as a manager, will be coming back to Manchester United. That's the big difference. I think that makes a huge impression on the other players as well at Manchester United. It's like, this isn't going to work like it used to. If you're one of them players that thinks, another manager comes in, we'll say the same things again, regurgitated crap that comes out of players' mouths every time a manager gets sacked, that's not going to happen anymore. The players' jobs are well and truly on the line, and it doesn't matter if Ruben survives or he doesn't. I think he will, and I hope he does. But I do believe that now, with what's in place at United, there's no escape for the players. So Rashford coming back, Onana coming back, because their loans are up, makes zero difference to who's in the hot seats at United. And that's what I think Romano is also talking about there. On to Rasmus Højlund. It's completely over between Manchester United and Rasmus Højlund. This is Romano. There is no chance of him coming back. The expectation is for Napoli to sign him on a permanent deal. And Romano being based over in Italy, and obviously I'm not just saying that because Napoli's in Italy and that's where Rasmus is, but Romano's words there are key, I feel, in this. It is completely over and there is no chance like, he knows that this deal is already done. And again, Rasmus falling out of a bit of form at Napoli. As a Man United fan, you start to panic. You start to worry that these players are not going to impress and they're going to end up being sent back to Man United. And we're here with our mistakes again, and our poor recruitment is coming back to bite us on the arse yet again. Well, not this time. Not this time. It's like, this is what Manchester United negotiated into these deals, and they made sure that they were secure. They made sure that they got these players out of the door properly. It was difficult to move them on, and the deals were complicated, and we didn't get what we wanted straight away. But we did the best that we could, and we made sure that them players would never come back to the club. Rasmus being another one. And I am very confident in the way that that has been said there by Romano, that Rasmus is done, and Arna is over, and Rashford has left. There's a video that's been reposted. I think Jesse Lingard's reposted a video of him, Marcus Rashford, Romelu Lukaku and Paul Pogba in a lift. It must have been going to some event ceremony or something back in the day. And I just looked at it and I was listening to the way that we were talking. They were doing their usual. Remember them, that beans video and that lingo that I've got no idea what they're talking about because I'm just an old dinosaur. I got no idea what it is, but I was just looking at it and I was going, thank God that's all. Thank God we don't have to deal with that again. And that's, look, everyone like talks the way they talk, and I've got, look, that's what young people do and everything. It's completely out of my league in terms of understanding, but still I'm looking at that and I'm going, thank God that that is now no longer at Manchester United. And all of that kamikaze car crash culture, what was there, the player power FC at its finest. No disrespect to any of them players at all still playing football. Thankfully Paul Pogba's back playing as well now in some aspect over there in Monaco, and everybody's moved on. There are clubs that players fit at. On paper, all of them players are world-beating players, but they didn't work at Man United. They just didn't work. And this is what we're saying. Like, going back to Conor Gallagher quickly, just a minute there. You could say that Gallagher's been at Palace, Chelsea, Atlético Madrid, and now he's going to United. It's not the right fit. Look, Barcelona have taken Marcus Rashford, and he's killing it right now. He's been at our club for years, and he's just moved to another club, and now he's playing really well. There are clubs that players fit at more than others. Ruben Amorim has talked about this so many times in interviews, and says sometimes it just doesn't work at a football club, and you need to move on. That's football, I'm afraid. I'm just glad that that era of Man United's football is done and is completely in the past. That I could not be dealing with. Honestly, wow. That Jose Mourinho into Ole Gunnar Solskjaer era of United players. Whoa, that was dangerous times, I think, at Manchester United, that. Rasmus done, and of course there is the other one there as well, Mr. Freedom Fighter himself, Jadon Sancho, now getting confirmation from Romano himself that United will not renew Jadon Sancho's contract at Manchester United just to get a fee out of him. It's like, sling your hook, you useless prima donna, self-centered, whatever you want to say about him. You could think up a bloody A4 page piece of paper, list long of names you could call Jadon Sancho for his time as a footballer, not just at Man United, just everywhere. Jadon Sancho is set to depart United as a free agent this summer. Music to every single Manchester United fan's ears. That is the end of Jadon Sancho. That's the icing on the cake of all of them names. So we go through the Rasmus, the Onana, the Marcus Rashford, and then the little icing on top, Jadon Sancho, gone. No longer spoken of as Manchester United players going into this summer. That's the situation that we've got with them four. And let's not forget the money that is bringing into Manchester United as well, because you only have to look at the fee that we will get for Rasmus Højlund and Marcus Rashford. We'll probably get a small fee for Andre Onana, and the wages that all four of them players carry for Manchester United off the books of this football club going forward. And look, you could always say, well, we're not paying them now because their clubs are paying for them now that they've been loaned to. But still, forward thinking and forward planning for Manchester United, that not being there is then used to bring in the better players that Manchester United need in the future. So that, I think, is the best way to look at that situation. It's Yeah, transfer fees, not very high. United made a mistake. But attitude, everything else that's actually gone wrong at the football club because of these players, their performances. I mean, that's something that we don't actually bring up. We don't do it. We look at it and we go, look at the problems off the pitch. The car crash, everything. Well, you could say with Rasmus and Onana in particular, we were talking about poor recruitment, players not being good enough for Manchester United. The fact that we got Benjamin Sesko and Senna Lammens instead of them two right now, that shows you. 2 years them two players lasted at United. 2 of the shortest term deals ever. And they thought they were the next best thing. They thought they were good enough for Manchester United. They were fully convinced that they were the future of this football club. And in the case of Andre Onana, my God, that man being shocked and rolling in to Carrington with his agents, asking for more money off the back of our worst ever season. Big red flag straight away there. But it's gone. And we don't have to talk about them anymore. And it just feels like a weight's been lifted. It's brilliant news. It's brilliant news. Let's see what we've got now. Everyone prefers Amad over Dalot for this season. Amad at right wing back is okay, but for long term, we shouldn't. He shouldn't be a right wing back option, but he should be in the front three. Well, no, Amad is playing very well at right wing back. Flash. I'm happy for him to stay there. I am. I think he could turn into. I think if he wants to place in Man United's side, he's going to have to learn that role, and I think he's happy in that role as well. And like Ruben has said, he's perfect for it. He gets another forward on the pitch for Manchester United. And people always automatically think that the wing-back area is a defender. It's not. A wing-back can be whatever you make it. A wing-back is a player that has to be forward-thinking and connecting with them front players, but just has that defensive mind about him as well. And look, Ahmad's always had a great work rate in him as well. I think he's adapting to the defensive side of wing-back, and he's learning it quickly. No, he's not the best defender in the world. We've seen that against Forest. They're where our flaws are, but we're actually playing Ahmad there, and I think it's right in playing him there because he will give us that extra bit going forward. And if we're scoring goals, then we're not clinging on to games, are we? We're scoring goals, we're winning games. If it's level and we're all defensive, then as soon as a team scores against us, which they inevitably will, because we haven't got the best defence at the moment. We're not fully organised yet, especially with that midfield there. At least we're still in the game because we're scoring goals and we've got a threat. And if you are attacking, then you're not defending. And it's the best form of defence, isn't it? It's the old-fashioned saying, isn't it? The best form of defence is attack. And I think that's what Ruben Amorim's look is. He wants them attacking wide wing-backs to be pushing forward and pushing the defences back. But he needs his best-in-class midfield to cover that. And we just haven't got that at the moment. So we're looking at Ahmad and saying, oh, is he really the right man for it? Well, no, we still haven't fixed out the system yet. And we still haven't got the right players in place for everything else to work perfectly. I don't think there's a problem with Ahmad at right wing back. I really don't. Let's see what we've got in here as well. Get some more comments in, everybody. Shane Cunha hasn't got anyone behind him to form a good relationship. That will come again. That will come on that left-hand side. I would prefer Dorgu, I'm going to be honest. I really would prefer Dorgu playing ahead of Ahmad at left wing-back. He's raw and he's not perfect. But for this season, yeah, I would go for him. Definitely is the better option, I think. Cameroon did not qualify for the World Cup. No, they didn't, Tricky. I think that's another conversation going on there as well. Again, last night, on yesterday, when we were speaking about Brian Mbeumo not being in the World Cup, just quickly, again, if you missed it, you've got the potential signing of Carlos Baleba now open for the summer. He won't be going to the World Cup with Cameroon because they're out. And if United wanted to get Carlos Baleba and get that deal done, then we're not having to wait all summer while the World Cup's being played out. He is there. He is there. And that, I think, is really important as well to remember, because the World Cup usually does get in the way of a lot of transfers. And if United wanted to make moves and make moves quickly on, say, players like Baleba, then they've got the opportunity now. And the fact that Bryan Mbeumo's got a full summer off as well, it's probably good for us as well for Manchester United. Yep. And just remember, going back to what I said already in the show this morning, the conversations about the January transfer window, Conor Gallagher coming in could have an effect on Kobbie Mainoo leaving, but also Manchester United still standing firm, like we said before. Samuel Luckhurst was reporting that Manchester United have told the likes of Joshua Zirkzee and Kobbie Mainoo that they're not going anywhere this January. We'll see on that one. I do think that will develop more. And if United do bring another midfielder in, then I could see Kobbie Mainoo definitely leaving. And Joshua Zirkzee, well, I just don't know. With Shea Lacey coming through, and then obviously Mbeumo and Ahmad coming back from AFCON second week of January, maybe even sooner, if they keep playing crap, that is, then he's going to be just sat on the bench constantly again. Even with Mbeumo missing, Zirkzee doesn't start unless he's going in at striker. But I would still see Mason Mount starting ahead of him. You could literally, the only hope that Zirkzee has got is if Benjamin Sesko's, and I don't want this to happen, by the way, but I'm just looking at it from Zirkzee and playing time aspect. The only way that he gets game time is if Benjamin Sesko is out for a prolonged period of time, which we're hearing isn't the case now. So, yeah, I don't see where he fits in. I really don't. And would Ruben start Mainoo ahead of him in the 10? Because that's a better position for Mainoo. Would that be the case? I think it probably would be. I think you would be looking at a situation there where Ruben would prefer probably using Kobbie Mainoo up there instead of Zirkzee. I think Zirkzee will come on every now and then, but still not going to be enough to get him into a World Cup squad. Sancho came from Croydon, speaks volumes. It says Grandpa 7. Sancho ruined himself. Yes, best comment there, Deborah, definitely on that one. I think he 100% destroyed his... But he was destroying his career as a schoolboy. I still remember that video that went out of him with Phil Foden, and he showed it again in the Villa game the other day when he was subbed on and subbed off, and he didn't want to shake hands or high five Ross Barkley, who was coming on for Aston Villa at the time. He's embarrassing. He's absolutely embarrassing, that guy. A win against Everton, Palace draw, win against West Ham and Wolves, says Deborah. Can all pick out our games coming up and look where Man United can make points. And it is encouraging. I just hope we don't come back from international duty on a flat, like a bit flat. Having the Monday night football is good, like I said, because we get everyone back from internationals with longer break. But I think sometimes the weight can just get on top a little bit of players and can kind of fall flat being the last game of the weekend. I hope not. I really hope not, because we need to keep this run going. We need a win against Everton. Graham there in with a super chat. He was telling me about this the other day. Rest in peace, Charlie Barlow from Barmy Charlie Flags. Long-standing visible red on the match days. Rest in peace. Hearts go out and wish best wishes to the family of Charlie. Graham was telling me about this the other day. Long serving away and travelling around the world Manchester United fan. The flag guys at Manchester United are phenomenal. They really are. And I think the amount of games that they get through is absolutely tremendous. It's so difficult travelling and following Manchester United because they're here, there and everywhere. But these guys are your hardcore supporters no matter what happens. So great super chat there, Graham, on that one. Hi Adam, Conor Gallagher, for me, he's underrated. This guy is a high-level operator, high energy, combative, good passer, and has an eye for goal. I can see him fitting in well at United. I think he will. I think he's perfect for what we need this season. I really do think that this is the right type of signing for Manchester United. Let's see if they can make it happen. Let's see. But look, that is everything for the show this morning, everybody. That is you fully updated on everything going on at Manchester United. So far, so good in terms of internationals. No injuries, no concerns. We're into the second week now after the weekend finishes of the internationals. Countdown now to next weekend's Premier League coming back. And 4 full months of no interrupted Premier League football. Manchester United's fixtures start to pile up a little bit. We're going to get busier and busier and busier. I had a night off last night with Kaz. We went out into town last night. I think that'll probably be one of our last breaks now going in to the next few months because it's going to be pretty mental. And we have got plans coming up on the channel for a bit more content on the match days as well. More on that as we get towards next weekend. I'll be filling you all in on that as well. Yeah, busy week ahead. A busy weekend ahead, actually, as well. I'll keep you all updated with the news as it happens. Of course, make sure you stay tuned. Hit the like button, everyone. Let's get that over 200. And, of course, make sure you hit the subscribe button as well to make sure that you're notified when that news comes out. And for now, that is us all wrapped up. Cheers, everybody. I'll see you all later on. Have a great